doobie dap dap a doobie doobie doop doobie doobie doop boop 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 beep beep boop. I fucking hate, I hate some of these lines. I hate some of these lines. This shit is so ass, dude. It's so fucking ass. It's ass. Whatever. Audio check. I hate some of these lines. I hate. Close enough for me. And I want to get this done quick because I'm fucking tired and I got 40 other things I need to do. So, 3 cheers for streaming at 3 a.m. Yip yip hooray. 5 and 4 and 3 and 2 and 1. Hello everybody and welcome to the wild card weekend of the 2025 NFL season and my prediction picks. I am the Cat and you're on the Blind Canadian Cat YouTube channel, where I say meow and I roll intros like this. Remember when this used to be called Super Wild Card Weekend? Because they wanted to add the extra pizzazz of the fact that we're going to get 6 games now on Wild Card Weekend instead of the 4. Can't even keep up with the pizzazz because even they agree that this is a waste of our time with these extra games. But hey, these other networks get extra money now because now we gotta have a game on Prime. Multiple, for Fox or CBS gets multiple games. Oh no, I'm dumb. Oh no, I'm dumb. It's the Prime team gets one. Actually, who is getting the first game? Probably be Fox or CBS. I don't know. I don't care. Whatever. You get my point. We couldn't just keep up the same formula of CBS, Fox, NBC, and ESPN getting 1 game each on Wildcard Weekend and then Division Round. But, you know, semantics, the NFL wants money, and that's why there's more teams in the playoffs and more games. Because the NFL is a bunch of greedy sons of bitches. But that's a different subject for another day. Let's break down last week, shall we? So, we end the season on a decent note. 8-8 straight up, 8-8 against the spread. You take the good with the bad when it comes to week 18. Again, it's always unpredictable. You don't know who's sitting, who's resting, who's pulling what starters. Blah, blah, blah. It is what it is. But that does conclude our regular season, finishing us at 165, 106 and 1 for an overall 60.8% on correct predictions, being my worst run since 2019. So yes, this season was not good to me. And 1 game short of 61%. You hate to see it, but it is overall. I think it speaks to the unpredictability of the NFL this year. And this year especially. Oh boy, was she unpredictable. But that's what makes it fun. And you love to shit. But yeah, so down year straight up. Against the spread we finished 131, 140 and 1, which is down from last year obviously, but roughly around where I usually am. A couple of games under 500, not by a whole lot, but usually a couple. And then same with the totals. We finished on a high mark last year. This year, we're under 500 again, finishing at 134 and 138. Again, even with the accounted of the being above 500 last year, this is usually where I am roughly with these. So, down, straight up year, worse than last year on spreads and totals, but essentially where I usually am every year. But with that, we are officially here into the playoffs, and let's begin this wild card weekend. 6 games on the docket. Who wins and who goes home? Starting off with our first game with our biggest spread, surprisingly, of them all. The Rams will go back to Carolina to face the Panthers. The Rams are currently 10.5 favorites on the road, and the total's at 46.5. Carolina walks in on back-to-back dud performances, but thanks to funny tiebreakers, and by funny tiebreakers I mean Atlanta deciding to be useful, and maybe the Rams deciding to be not useful, give Carolina the freebie, because Tampa's collapse ended up coming back to haunt them, with the NFC South being a three-way tie. So Carolina gets the spot, and the Rams, who also had their fair share of choking games away, losing to Seattle, losing to Atlanta, and a team that was destined to win this division now sits here as a 5 seed, having to go on the road. It's almost like if you don't choke bad games, you have a chance to be at home. To any moron out there that wants to take away division champs in a home playoff game, moron. And I will be laughing at all the NFL morons if they decide to overdo that. But I digress. Now, from a subjective or objective, actually, I don't fucking know, I'm just saying shit. Carolina is unequivocally the worst team in the playoffs. But that doesn't necessarily mean that they are a bad team. And when I say that in the sense of, yes, they're 8-9. Yes, they got swept by the Saints. Yes, they are a very confusing team. But you look at some of those wins, man. Wins against the Packers. Wins against these Rams. It makes you wonder what this team is. What this team is made of. And there's just some sort of X factor to that. Oh. It's definitely not Bryce, but like the defense shows up, the run game shows up, these receivers exist. It makes you question a lot, and I definitely think that's something worth noting. But I think the regular season is a regular season. Some teams aren't going to be perfect every week. And I think that's what happened to the Rams. I think they had like 3 turnovers in that game against Carolina. And even then it was still a 3-point game. So I think the Rams are going to look, again, when I say this as loudly as I can. These NFL playoffs are extremely wide open. And it's there for anyone's taking. So I think with them being a little more serious now, I think they lock in. It's like, you're just 4 games away from a championship. Figure it out. And, they played all their starters last week, so they're on a groove. They're on a hot hand. They're starting. So, give credit where credit's due. But, yeah, I'm not going to take the same mistake twice on them. I'm not going to bet on lightning striking twice. Give me the Rams to win this game. Carolina, you're an interesting story, and I'm curious to see what happens to you this offseason. Because you now have the question of, do we go all in? Do we put in the effort to actually compete? Now that we can somehow win 8 games in this crappy division? Or do they try to make a trade for a better quarterback? Because who knows how we feel about Bryce Young still? Who knows? But I think this game will determine a lot about how they go forward with their offseason. But even the Rams to win on a line 10.5. While I do think the Rams do lock in a little more, there is this eerie feeling, and when I say eerie feeling, I only mean in the one sense of this trend that was popular at the start of the year and at the end of the year. It was in the year prior, Ohio State wins the national championship. That season, Carolina opens the year against the Jags. And in that same season, Carolina makes a run to the Super Bowl. That has happened the last 2 times Ohio State was national championships They would Carolina opens up the following season against the Jags, and they make a run to the Super Bowl. Now, do I believe that's going to be happening this year? Definitely not. This team is nowhere near as good as that 2003 team or the 2015 team. But because of that superstition alone, I am willing to give Carolina plus 10.5 here on the spread. If for nothing else, possible backdoor cover is very much open and very much on the table. On the total, we are set at 46.5. If the Rams defense actually locks in and limits Carolina from doing much of anything, I could see this game being low scoring. You really don't got to run up the score here in the playoffs because you just want the win. So I don't know how dedicated LA is going to be to, like I said, running up that score. And I don't know what Carolina's dedication is going to be long term. So I'm going to bite my nose on this one, and I'm going to take an under in this game. Give me the under 46.5. Give me like a Rams 24, Panthers 17 kind of game. Rams win. It's convincing that you know they're that team that you believe in. But Carolina exists enough that it leads to interesting questions going into the offseason. On to the second game, one where I'm really pissed off at Vegas for setting these lines. Green Bay goes to Chicago as a 7-2 matchup. But for God knows what reason, the 7-seeded Green Bay Packers are 1.5 point favorites on the road in Chicago. And the total is at 44.5. And I say I'm pissed off because I walked into this game thinking, I think Green Bay has a chance here. I think Green Bay could really upset Chicago. It's a divisional game, so I don't even want to hear the 2-7. The two games they did play, both came down to final drives, final plays, OT moments. So, both games were close. Chicago's kind of coming in on a down sled. Green Bay's also kind of falling apart, but we can't really hold the last couple of weeks too much because Jordan Love was been out with a concussion. They chose not to give him any reps, obviously because Green Bay couldn't move out of the 7th seed. So Love could be rusty. Chicago loses a shootout 1 week and then puts up a dud against Detroit the next week. So they're coming in on a low, and thanks to Philly's losses, they can stay that too. But it's one of those where I do think this game could go either way. Crazy that they're putting this in the Amazon Prime game because fuck cable owners, fuck Hulu owners, all that nonsense. The oldest rivalry in the sport just gets relegated to Amazon Prime of all places. Thanks. And again, I hate that it's a favorite because, spoiler alert, all my fucking picks are somehow the favorites for whatever reason. And I hate that with a passion because there's no way half of these guys should be the betting favorite. But I digress. I picked it, or I was going in to pick it. I want to pick it. I'm going to pick it. I like the Packers to go into Chicago and beat the Bears. I really do. I think with a healthy Jordan Love, they got plenty of receivers. Josh Jacobs is healthy. The Bears team, you don't trust. And to be fair, that game that Chicago did end up winning, Green Bay had a 10-point lead with 5 minutes left, and probably would have won that game had they recovered an onside kick. Yes, they fell apart in OT, but I'm just saying, the Packers were there in both games. They won the first one and were pretty much a bad choke job away from winning the second one. So I like Green Bay. Again, they're the freaking favorite as a 7th seed. I hate this so much. But I'm going to lay that 1.5. And total of 44.5, I'm taking the under. Gritty, cold weather game in Chicago. I like a low scoring affair. I like gritty battle. I like two offenses that are probably going to make many mistakes, especially now that we're in a playoff setting. Welcome to your first playoff game, Caleb Williams. How will you do? All that in the morning. But yeah, give me Green Bay. Give me them to win as a favorite. Lay the point. Oh, I hate it with a passion. And give me under 44.5. Packers 16, Bears 15. I guess 14 to cover the spread. I don't know. This game's going to be ugly. It's divisional, so it makes it intriguing. But this game's going to be ugly as hell. Next game we have, I thought this would have been the perfect Sunday night game, but I forgot that CBS and Tony Romo's boner for Josh Allen is more powerful than anything else. The Bills are in Jacksonville taking on the Jaguars. And again, I don't know why this is the case, but it is. Buffalo Bills are 1.5 favorites on the road. And this one, being our highest total of the week, is at 51.5. Now, the Jaguars are probably among the hottest teams in the league. They look really great both on the offensive side and the defensive side. They got some signature wins. They're the team no one really wants to face. And then you have Buffalo, who, if you read the description to the stream or the title of this video, you can't help but look at the Bills and be like, hey, you know how every year you're always losing to Mahomes in the playoffs? Well, guess who's not in the playoffs this year? Now's your chance. Your one roadblock, the one roadblock that's always been in your way, is not there. It's time to lock in. Maybe this is the year you put it together. That's kind of where the mindset is. But this is probably the best and worst case scenario if you are Buffalo. Because this is probably the one team that could wreck your shit within an instant if they so chose to. Jacksonville doesn't get a lot of playoff appearances, but when they do, they tend to be one of the more reliable, more consistent, at least showing up decently well in the first game. More often than not, at least. So, this should be a laugh. Like, whatever your thoughts are on Green Bay and Chicago, that's whatever. That's a divisional game. There's no reason the Jags, with how well they've been playing football the last 2 months, should be the underdog in this game. That makes 0 sense to me. And it almost makes me think Vegas wants you to lay those points. I almost feel like it's a betting trap. I don't know. I think any other year, this might be the Jags year. And again, there's a realistic chance they could go on this run. But if I'm Buffalo, I'm thinking, if not now, then when? And I just can't shake that. And I don't want to play that card, but I feel like ref ball will notice that too. Like, Mahomes is not here. Now's the chance to get Josh Allen to go somewhere and do something and justify him being one of these top quarterbacks. Like we gave him that pity MVP to justify that he is a upper echelon and will be remembered in the history of the league. Give him this opportunity to go on a playoff run. Now that Mahomes is gone, he really does have no excuse. That defense has no excuse. One of those things. I hate it, and again, I hate it because I hate the favorite in this game. But I'm going to take my third straight road team. I'm taking Buffalo to go into Jacksonville and to win this game. And of course, that means I'm going to lay the -1.5 on them. I hate that spread because there's no reason Jacksonville should not be favored in this game. Unless there was some injury. Did Trevor Lawrence break his collarbone getting bench pressed by that waitress at the bar or whatever? Why is Jacksonville not the favorite here? Why is Jacksonville not the betting favorite to win this game? It makes 0 sense to me. Total game is 51.5. Trevor had in Trevor's last playoff appearance. Even being down the big score, he came back and won that game. So even if he doesn't perform in the first half, I do expect him to perform in the second half. Buffalo, whatever you want to make of their run defense, their run offense with James Cook is among the best. Josh Allen, he loves his fullback dive at the goal line. Both offenses should be able to do enough. I like the over here. Give me the over, 51.5. Because Josh Allen's going to put on a show. Trevor Lawrence and Travis Etienne are going to do whatever they want with that defense. Jacoby Myers, Parker Washington, Brian Thomas Jr. have a day. Give me all the points. Bills win, Bills cover. Give me the over on the 51.5. Give me like a 33-27. It's explosive, it's fun. But the Jags defense just can't stop Josh Allen. That's what I'm going with. Next game we have San Francisco in Philadelphia taking on the Eagles. Eagles are 4.5-point favorites as a home team. First home favorite so far. And the total's at 44.5. Again, not much can be said about Philly that hasn't already been said. This is a great team with great pieces. They just came off a Super Bowl win last year, and they have plenty of opportunity to do it again. This offensive coordinator sucks, and therefore this offense sucks. They have all this high-end talent, and it seems like they can't figure out what to do with it. They just can't. So now we're left wondering, how much of a run can they really make? And then you got coming to town, the Niners, who, despite every injury known to man, somehow threw 12 wins together this regular season. And it's one of those years where it's like with all the injuries you think they would just kill over and die, but nope, they decided to win games. And here they are. Sanford and Philly, who've also represented the NFC in the Super Bowl over the last 6 years. So clearly these two teams know what they're doing. And the last 3 seasons in general. Honestly, this kind of comes down to my one mantra I have. After the last 5 years or so, I could be wrong. Feel free to double check my math here. Philly does well at home playoff games. And that just might be the Philadelphia fan base. It might be the schedule they've had. Because it's easy to win playoff games against rookie quarterbacks and backups, and yeah, it's easy to do that. But hey, their home record's their home record, and that defense is still very elite. Regardless of all the noise with the offense, that defense is very elite. So give me Philadelphia to win. That said, with their offensive woes, and they showed up bad against Buffalo, and they were inconsistent, granted with backups, but inconsistent last week against DC. 4.5 is just a pinch high for me. So I'm going to take the Niners to cover at plus 4.5. I expect this to be a game. I expect it to be close. I expect it to be interesting. I think we could be in for a potential game-winning field goal. So if Jake Elliott could not miss a bunch of kicks, it might come down to you, my friend. It might come down to you. Total's at 44.5. Like I said, Sanford's injured to hell and back. Philly's got a great defense. Their offense is inconsistent. I really like the under here. Give me under 44.5. So Eagles win, Niners cover, under 44.5. Although covering does you nothing in the playoffs. Once you're out, you're out. Give me a 23-20 game-winning field goal as time expires. Jake Elliott's a hero. Philly doesn't hate him for the first time in a few weeks. All is well in the world, probably. And hey, Philly, as a 3 seed in my world, you get to host another game. So I could do you all the benefit. All the benefit. Next game we have the Sunday night game on NBC. Surprised this one got chosen, but what do I know? The Chargers head to New England to take on the Patriots. Patriots 3.5-point favorites at home, and the total's at 46.5 points. Say what you want. I've made my mark on Twitter plenty of times, but I am full send on Drake Maye being the league MVP. If for nothing else, because of the consistency of the award. The last couple of years, especially, people seem to care more about wins than they do stats. It just seems to be the thing. Rodgers had the tiebreaker win over Tampa back in 21, and that's how he got it over Brady. Lamar won 10 games against teams with winning records, despite only having 29 total touchdowns. They decided him being the 1 seed was worth more than giving it to Dak. Last year, Lamar had 41 touchdowns and 4 interceptions, and then 900 yards on the ground as well. Nope, Josh Allen. James Cook's a scrub, apparently. They got no defense. Josh Allen's the 2 seed, Lamar's the 3 seed, even though the Ravens beat the Bills that season. Nope, Josh Allen. I'm like, okay. So that's 3 of the last 4 years. You've ignored stats in favor of teams doing more with less, teams winning more games. And now you have your ultimatum really crashing hard right here, considering the Rams did not win their division. The Rams are a 5 seed. I think they said the last quarterback who didn't win their division that you gave MVP to was like 2008. Your last, I want to say like 12 or 13 MVPs have been from teams who were either the 1 seed or the 2 seed. Well, here you go. Drake Maye's a 2 seed. He's 14 wins. He has one of the best, I think he leads the league in passer rating, or is among the top 2 in passer rating. He's right there. So my vote is more on the NFL. I'm wishing you stay consistent and don't try to spin bias or narratives to give someone an MVP that otherwise might not deserve it. But to the game itself, Chargers, I like you. I wish you could be healthy. Your O-line's injured to hell. I don't trust it. Herbert's going to get hurt because he was already dealing with every injury under the sun. Chargers also rested a bunch of players, so there's going to be a little rust. New England, I trust Vrabel. I trust what New England's doing. They've been on a roll. The run game's coming to life. They're using Travion more. Ramondre doesn't suck, apparently, now. Drake looks fine. They got a bunch of legal trouble going on outside, but I'm sure that won't be too much of a distraction. I like New England here. I just do. I think the Chargers... Well, this is a plenty opportunity to go on a run. Like I said, 7 seed's a 7 seed, but New England's not special. Denver's not special. Buffalo, it's like Jacksonville might be the only true like special team here, but they got to get past Buffalo first, which that's a 50-50. That's a 50-50, so who knows with that. But yeah, I like New England to win this game. On the line, it's 3.5. I'm going to lay it. I do think New England's just a better team through and through, and I think they go on a run. They just... I don't want to pull Team of Destiny out of nowhere, but, like... I definitely think this New England team can make some noise. Ooh. Could be fun. Could be fun. Total in the game is 46.5. Again, it comes down to how much do I trust the Chargers O-line. You give Herbert time to throw the ball and make plays. They have moments, but it's ultimately inconsistent. Though... I think if you... Yeah, it's very close. This 46 is relatively high. But I think I gotta go over on this. I think there's enough you can glean from the Chargers and from the Patriots that you can get to a 46. It's not going to be easy, but I think you can do it. So Patriots win. Patriots cover 3.5. Give me the over. Like a 27-23 type game. Or even 27-20. I like New England. I like them as a team, and I think they can go fairly far. And that starts with a win against the Chargers. Where, of course, even as a 7 seed, if they lose this game, we got to play the conversations of, is Herbert really a playoff quarterback? Is Herbert really deserving of all the accolades and recognition he gets? I think he is, but I know the internet's going to say he might not be. And then the final game of the week, we have the Texans traveling to Pittsburgh to take on the Steelers. Texans on the road are favored by 3 points, and the total's at 38.5. Very low total, very low scoring game. Pittsburgh is going to be cold as hell, so we'll see how it bodes for both teams. But I do know I trust Houston's defense a lot. Now for Pittsburgh, it's also going to be intriguing. DK Metcalf comes back. Lost the last 2 games due to suspension. Of course, Pittsburgh's offense looks non-existent in Cleveland, and then against Baltimore, they're going up and down the field like crazy. Funny how that works. But yeah, Houston's defense is way better than Baltimore. You can expect something similar to what you saw with the Cleveland game. I feel like Derek Stingley and the crew can do enough to minimize DK and the rest of the receiving core. Hell, they had Justin Herbert pretty much in a chokehold. Lad McConkey broke a 90-yard touchdown, but outside of that, they pretty much locked down them like crazy. Granted, last year and this year, 2 different years, 2 different systems, blah, blah, blah. But I like Houston's defense. They're going to be one of the best in this playoff run. And you know Houston, they're very good at winning that first game. They can never win that second game, but they're very good at winning that first game. So give me Houston to win this game. On the line of 3, I'll take the 3. Could be close, though. Pittsburgh Steeler magic bullshit. I wouldn't be surprised if this was like a 2-point game or a 1-point game when it ends. But I'm taking Houston, so I might as well lay the 3. Total 38.5. I want to believe in these defenses. I really, really do. I don't know what I'm going to get from much from CJ. I don't know what I'm going to get from Old Man Aaron. But I'm just going to bite my tongue, and I'm going to roll with it. Give me the under 38.5. Give me like a Texans 20-13 win. 20-16 even. Even a little more spicier than that. Texans win, Texans cover, give me the under. And there you have it. Those are my picks for the wildcard weekend. One more time, I have the Rams beating Carolina. Carolina covers plus 10.5, and a game that stays under 46.5. I have the Packers going on the road to beat the Bears, covering their 1.5 and staying under 44.5 points. I have the Bills going into Jacksonville, beating the Jags. Bills cover their 1.5, and the total shoots above the high 51.5 points. I have the Eagles winning at home, but San Francisco covering plus 4.5. And a game that stays under 44.5 points. I have the Patriots winning at home and laying their 3.5 points against the Chargers. And a game that goes over 46.5. And then I have the Texans going on the road to beat Pittsburgh on Monday night, covering the -3, and a game that stays under 38.5. Now, do you see why I really hate these spreads too? Because I just bet on all betting favorites to win. And that never happens ever. Never, ever, 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 ever. That shit just doesn't happen. But there is no reason that Chicago and Jacksonville should not be the betting favorites here. I don't understand why that's the case. But it is what it is, and like I said, I've kind of went in with the notion of I was going to pick Green Bay and Buffalo beforehand. Because I don't trust Chicago, and Buffalo I'm more looking at, maybe not just them, but outside forces are going to find a way to keep them continuing. But yeah, there you have it. Those are my picks. That is all I have got to say. Feel free to leave a comment on this video if you agree or disagree. I'm sure everyone disagrees with me, because we're all different. And I mean, based on my results I've gotten from this year, I clearly haven't been on my strong point as I was in previous years. So, it be what it be. But that said, thank you all for watching. Make sure you follow my Twitter, CanadianCatCP. I somehow didn't get banned this week, despite calling out the morons for being morons. That's all I'm going to say on that note. I have a bunch of other social media, but I'm never really on them, so it's kind of pointless to plug. They're all linked somewhere on the channel or in previous videos. You can find them. And with that, I think that is all I have got to say. Thank you for watching. As much as I'm sad that we missed the playoffs, the good thing about your team not being in the postseason is that you can kind of breathe and just enjoy the games and not stress out about any of them. Yeah, I'm going to stress out because I want my picks to be right, especially since I'm going to put some parlays on them, but in the end, this is going to be a stress-free postseason where I root for teams I like to go far. And by root for, I mean I'm preying on Buffalo's downfall. Because that's the Raven way. Yak, 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 yak. But with that, choose peace, accept love, have big trust. Good luck, everyone. Enjoy the weekend, and I will see you next week.